Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of the ZodWriter Show. I am ZodWriter, and with me, as always, is my co host, Johnny Alpha. Great to see you, Johnny. I'm glad you could make it here tonight for this, what seems to be like it's going to be a historic show tonight in so many ways.
I suppose.
We've got our we've got our thumbnail with our creepy image of Jared Leto's Joker that Zack Snyder posted on Vero, and I'm excited to say that this is once again Zack Snyder stoking the flames of the fandom to get us excited and to amp us all up, just like he did in the early days of hashtag release the Snyder Cut. So tonight's show, I want to talk a lot of, basically, we're going to talk a lot about Restore the Snyderverse. I want to talk a lot about the differences between what's going on with Restore the Snyderverse versus what we did back in the early days of Release the Snyder Cut. And I think that's an important distinction that we need to make. And we also need to address some of the criticisms and some of the attacks being hit upon us by the Move On crowd, which is currently the group of people that just want us to forget about Zack Snyder's Snyderverse in the DCEU and to just move on and pretend like it's all over with. And I do have a lot to say about them because I've been going back and forth with some people on Twitter that have given that are known for giving notoriously bad takes when it comes to this kinds of stuff. So we'll bring all that up. But before we do, Johnny and I have a couple of guests here that I want to bring in for tonight's live stream. And again, it is an open panel. So anybody that wants to join in, what open panel means, and what I want to stress to people is whenever I have an open panel show, I post the link in the description for anybody who wants to come on. And as long as I know who you are and as long as I'm friendly with you, I will bring you on. I don't bring on anybody on the stream that I don't know if I don't know who you are. I don't trust that type of stuff. I've had a number of incidents occur where I've had people on other streams that are friends of mine where you'd let somebody on who you don't know who they are, and then you bring them on and they end up showing you a little bit extra of themselves. And that's not something that I need on my streams. So I'm not going to do that. But at any rate, though, anybody that I'm aware of and I know who you are, if I don't know who you are when you come on, if you want to come on, shoot me a message in the private chat letting me know who you are if this is your first time jumping on the live stream. And as long as I know who you are, I will definitely let you on the stream. But with all that being said, I'm going to bring in Bat Dan. Welcome. And of course, this wouldn't be Restore the Snyderverse live stream without the great Watchtower himself, Mr. Jeffrey Warfield. So now that I have everybody here, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get caught up with the chat here because we have some people here in the chat that have made some comments. So I want to go ahead and address them first before we get started because we definitely have a lot to talk about tonight, guys. I'm glad that you all are here. And we've got the Snyder Fan 99 starting things off. What's up, Snyder Fan? Good to see you. The Move On crowd are the same people who want a 70-year-old to replace Ben Affleck. That is absolutely correct. And we've got Double MJ here. What's up, Double MJ? Always good to see you in the chat with what's up, hashtag Restore the Snyderverse. We've got Ray in the chat here. The Move On haters were never fans in the first place. That's a good point. And I want to stress this enough. When I say the Move On crowd, I'm not talking about people who have always been against the Snyderverse, even during the Release the Snyder Cut phase. I'm not talking about people that have always been against Snyder and didn't like his movies and are telling us to move on. Those people have always been there. They're always going to be there. There's no point in even talking about them. The people that I specifically mention when I say the Move On crowd are the people that claim to be supportive and claim to want to see more of Snyder's movies in the DCEU, as well as supported loosely the Release the Snyder Cut movement, and were seemingly a part of that, who are now suddenly telling us, oh, you need to move on. We need to move on. Those are the people that I'm addressing when I say the move on crowd. The people that were allegedly part of the bigger picture and have now somehow turned on us all for whatever reason. Those are the people I single out. So that's the reason why I feel like it's necessary to clarify that, is because I don't want a bunch of people attacking me on social media claiming that I'm going after just general fans who don't like Snyder's movies. Okay, I have respect for those people because not everybody is going to like Snyder. You have a right to be wrong. You have a right to have whatever taste in movies you want to have. So I'm not going, film is very subjective. So I'm not going to attack people who have never been fans. I'm not going to attack people who don't like BVS or who are not fans of Zack Snyder's Justice League or whatever, because those people were never part of the equation anyway. So it doesn't make any sense to go after those types of people. And I would feel, the same way if I'm on a social media thing on Twitter and I got people and a Spider-Man No Way Home stream, whatever they call that, a thread talking about that movie, and I just go in that thread and say, oh, Spider-Man's full of crap. Oh, this movie sucks. Oh, why can't you people just move on? I would never do that, because there's no point in that, because you're going into an environment where it's a bunch of people that like something. So why would you go into that environment and just start attacking those people for no reason? That I've never understood. And although there are people that do that on social media, I don't. So I'm not trying to go after people there. And we have Zeno, who says, "What's up, Zod? Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Good to see you, man." And it says, not, what do you got here? Not moving, hashtag not moving on, and hashtag F Jarbo. Okay, well, there you go. And we've got Jesse Allen here. He says, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Jesse Allen? Hashtag release the air cut. What's up, brother? Good to have you here. Always a pleasure to see you. And baby girl is in the chat. What's up, baby girl? She says, hi, Zod. And we are all down with the sickness. We've got sickness here in the chat saying, brother Zod. We've got Jesse Allen saying, yo, sickness. And we got APAS 97. How are you doing? Great to see you as always. The move on crowd will all eat crow. Hashtag Snyderverse will be restored. And we've got Jesse Allen saying, hey, baby girl. We've got baby girl in here saying hello to Jesse Allen. Everybody likes Jesse Allen. Jesse Allen is literally he's like a celebrity, because he's like the restore. This is like the restore the air cut main guy. He's the dude. And we've got Rel McMillan here saying preach Zod, and we've got everybody basically just saying hello to everybody. So with that all being pointed out now, I just want to get into a little bit of this. I think we are a as a movement. I think the restore the Snyderverse movement is distinctually different from the release the Snyder cut movement in a lot of ways, mainly because now the obvious is that we are asking for something. We are hoping that a franchise of films will be continued that doesn't have anything yet. It's all going to be new material, with the exception of the air cut of Suicide Squad, because I have said time and time again, Jesse Allen, that when they finally do release the air cut, that will be the first step in restoring the Snyderverse, because once you release the air cut, you are acknowledging that the Snyderverse needs to be continued. And I want to say hello to Rhea in the chat. Absolutely, Rhea is so awesome. And again, I said this on social media on Twitter. If you haven't voted for Rhea in that poll for best upcoming YouTuber, please make sure you do, because Rhea is absolutely awesome. And yes, she is here in the chat, so that is awesome as well. So I want to start with you, Jeffrey Warfield. What do you
Okay.
think on the state of the restore the Snyderverse movement as a whole?
I, really, with this date on it, like he really, like you said, with the whole move on crowd, yeah, it is really kind of broken, but in a way, I do kind of get it. And really, I wasn't really surprised that this would happen. That like after the Snyder Cut was released, I was actually expecting some people to get off the Snyder train. But so really this whole thing going on with the move on crowd, I really I really was I really was expecting this because there would be that that there would be those type of people that would move on. But yeah, so really, in terms of for me, I'm not really surprised by it, but I'm not on that train on moving on.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not surprised either. It's natural for people because, again, it's like Johnny here has always pointed out. We literally got the Holy Grail. The fact that we got the Snyder Cut at all is a
It's a
miracle.
miracle.
It's something that nobody ever thought was going to happen logistically. Yeah, we all believed in it. We believed it was real. We believed in Zack Snyder, but we didn't really think that we were going to get the movie in a million years, because ultimately the movie itself, that type of thing, generally speaking, doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it doesn't happen in the time frame in which we got it. Because when you think about it, 3-4 years is a relatively short time to get something released that a studio was dead set against releasing.
Yep.
I mean, the amount of things that had to go our way as a fan base in order to get that were just astronomical. Because I'm not downplaying what we did as a movement by any means, but what I'm saying is, not only was it that, but it took a lot of factors and it took a lot of things behind the scenes that just, there's probably a lot of things too that went into it that we'll still never know, and no matter what. And it's just the idea that we got the movie at all is so, it's so amazing, and it's something that we should all really, really be thankful for and happy that succeeded. And I think I think that that's something that cannot be understated. And this is why when we see Zack Snyder posting stuff on his Vero social account in the same way that he did during the early days of Release the Snyder Cut, we have reason to be excited. Because we know how Zack is when he does this kind of stuff. If Zack thought that it was over with and it was never going to happen again, and he was totally sure of it, he would tell us. He would
Yep.
tell us himself to move on. Zack has never
And
been shy about being honest with the fan base. He's told us
yep.
time and time again. Remember, when things were bad, he would tell us how he felt, or he would
Yep.
tell us, keep fighting, or he would tell us, it's not looking good, but if we keep doing this or we keep doing that, like, he'll let us know. And that's the thing that I've never understood about people that don't, the move on crowd people, the people that were a part of the Release the Snyder Cut movement. How do they not understand what Zack Snyder is doing now? How do they not see at this point, well, he was doing this during Release the Snyder Cut. This is the same kind of tactics. So why would you all of a sudden now be dead set against it and think, oh, you need to move on, oh, it's never going to happen, when you've been proven wrong already by virtue of the fact that we have the Snyder Cut in our hands on Blu-ray
Yeah,
disc?
and also like really that's the thing too. Like when you really think about it, like think about the context of everything going on. Like Zach has the Armyverse and soon to be Rebel Moonverse going on Netflix, and he's still posting stuff about DC. So, like, really, the question then becomes like, if he has the Rebel Moonverse and the Armyverse that he's working on, why isn't he posting stuff about that? Like, like I know a lot of people right now and that are Snyder fans are clamoring for Rebel Moon content
I can
and Rebel
answer that
Moon
question
this.
for you, Jeffrey. I know exactly why he's not posting any of that stuff right now, because that's all been confirmed already.
Yep,
It's all we know for a fact that it's happening. He's in production on these projects. These projects are not in question at all. So with
yep,
the Snyderverse, this is obviously, and this is the other thing I don't understand. People don't realize that these movies that Zack is making for DC are movies that he's just as passionate about as the rest of us.
yep,
So if he really wanted people to move on and really wanted us to not focus on any of that, he wouldn't be stoking the fire. Zack knows exactly what he's doing, and I want to, defer a little bit to you, Bat Dan. Now I want to hear your take on how you think the restore of the Snyderverse movement is going as a whole.
I mean, I think it's on track. I think it's on track to get the desired goal. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a more divided now than the release of the Snyder Cut movement was, and it is a bit more of a challenge. I'm not going to deny, as you said earlier, that yes, getting something that's not filmed is a lot harder than getting something that's already filmed. But Zach is teasing about it. Like all these people like say, it's best for Zach to move on. Here's what I say: it's best for Zach to do what he feels is best for himself. And if he really wants to move on, why? Why are you getting our hopes up exactly? Like some of these move on crowd are like saying, Zach, you need to stop leading your fans on. I'm like, here's the thing. Here's just a little common sense for y'all. Zach knows a lot more about what's going on behind the scenes than you do. And look, some of these people who say move on, I do have some respect for some of these people as people, but my issue is like they constantly go out of their way to troll the fandom, and then they get upset that they get attacked back. It's like, here's the thing: take your own advice. You move on. You move on. If you don't
Right,
think
it's
it's
an
going to
individual decision. Yes.
but
Yes.
here's another point I want to make up. You know how Ben Affleck said he was done being Batman, like he was never coming back? You remember that?
yep,
He said it.
Yeah.
Guess what happened? He signed on. Not only did he sign to do additional photography for Zack Snyder's Justice League, he signed on to do The Flash. I mean, things change. People change. Circumstances change. There's an old saying that I read somewhere online. People don't quit jobs; they quit bosses. Zach,
yep,
we all knew Zach was never going to come back to work for the old regime. That we knew that, but we have a new regime coming in, and look, people bring up this point. Well, nothing. Jason Kilar and Ann Chernoff we thought were our saviors, and they weren't. And here's the thing: that could be the case with David Zaslav, for all we know. He might come in and not change anything. But at the end of the day, why not have hope? This is what really bothers me. I could rant about this for hours. Why do you care if some of us have a little hope? I'm not saying that it's for sure happening. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed fact. I'm saying that there's some good signs that are happening. And yes, and also too, I'll be honest, I'm biased because I'm a huge fan of Mikey Sutton and Sil Abdul's show, and also the members' videos that I'm subscribed to, where I hear secret information.
Yes.
So I do have some little hope there. I'm sure you've seen some of those members' videos, ZodWriter.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
I haven't seen any of the member videos because really, like, it's nothing against like a member that it's nothing against them. It's just like I don't really think the idea of having a membership. I really don't think having the idea of a membership section makes any sense in terms of YouTube. So that's why I don't generally watch the membership videos, because to me, like, with how the content that we're already getting, like, with even without the membership stuff. Like, I really do think that, yeah, it's pretty much gonna be, we're going to get something huge coming out of January 1st, because really I've been saying for a while that I've really been paying attention to when Zach posts, and really how he posts in particular. Like, we got a Thanksgiving post that had Final Crisis, then which then, if we remember, there was a turkey video that Zach put out about the Snyder Cut, saying with the caption about an hour more. Then, and that's basically confirmed that the runtime is at least 1 hour more. The 214 cut, the 3 hours and 34-minute cut, and then, so with that, there's two connections with the turkey videos, the Thanksgiving videos. So what I'm thinking right now is, Zach, if the and this is a big if we do follow the pattern, we will get something on December 24th or 25th on Christmas, and also something on January 1st, if the pattern does suffice.
Oh yeah, and Zack Snyder has set up these patterns that you have so eloquently spoken about, Jeffrey. Obviously, knowing what Zack Snyder does and knowing how he's done it in previous years for Release the Snyder Cut, I think that we can expect more of the same from Zach. He knows what he's doing. He's established a pattern. He's not going to flip the script. If he was done, we would know. And that's what the move on crowd needs to understand. This move on crowd that for some reason is now tone deaf to the post that Zack Snyder himself makes proves to me that they were never fans to begin with. And I don't care what Matt Jarbo says. I don't think that Matt Jarbo truly ever really supported what Zack Snyder wanted to do. He was on the bandwagon during the Release the Snyder Cut days. He supported it a little bit, and once the movie came out, shortly after that, he kind of flip-flopped over, and now he's a member of the Move On crowd, and he goes out of his way to post these bad takes and to consistently attack those of us that want the Snyderverse to continue. But yet, in my social media, Twitter arguments with him today, he went out of his way to point out that he's a fan and he wants to see Restore the Snyderverse. So if he's a fan and he wants to see Restore the Snyderverse, why go out of your way to attack people who allegedly want the same thing you do? That makes no sense whatsoever. And then his counter to that argument is to bring up my videos and to say, well, Zod, you like to say things like, you like to say a lot of crazy stuff about the MCU. You say things all the time like, that like James Gunn was a plant for the MCU or whatever, or this, that, and the other. And it's like, look, man, I'm giving my opinion, okay? Yep. And my opinion doesn't have to be believed or subscribed to by anybody. If people don't like my opinion, they're free to disagree with me. I've never run away from people disagreeing. I don't have a problem with you disagreeing. I have a problem with being disrespectful. And when you call the entire movement for Restore the Snyderverse, you tell us that we have an onset of dementia coming. You talk about us being a cult, us exhibiting cultish behavior, a movement that you yourself were allegedly a part of. It makes no sense. It's contradictory, and it makes the man look like he's only doing it for click reasons. He's only doing it to get people to watch his content or to get people to engage with him on social media, like he's doing it for attention. It doesn't make sense because here's the thing. if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything.
Yep.
And that's just the truth.
And really, like, that's the thing about it too. It's like really for me when it comes to Matt Jarbo, I saw a video of his about talking about the Snyder Cut social media numbers that when that video came out, and and really I just saw it out of curiosity. I haven't watched its videos in a while, so I just watched it out of curiosity. That's it. I didn't really have anything against him until this video. So basically, he went on to say that the Snyder Cut Twitter numbers, social media numbers have come out, and it was like, okay, so what's this and that about? And so then eventually he was saying like on paper it's good, but I forgot exactly what he said, but it was basically along the lines of basically these numbers can be manipulated. It essentially was just that, like, these numbers can be manipulated. We don't really know, and all that sort of stuff. And they're doing this and the Matt is doing this while also going while he's showing the actual source of the video. And I'm like, dude, you're seeing the actual video from the ad campaign, and these are official numbers. Like, stop trying to spin it.
It's incredible because yeah, he'll do that because he's being confronted with actual real evidence, and yet he'll say that it can be manipulated. But here's the thing: a lot of the stuff that's being said about the Restore the Snyderverse movement is manipulated and manufactured, and a bunch of baloney and stuff that's just straight up not true. I really do want to address his viewpoint on my stuff when I make my comments about the MCU. I don't care how much of a fan of James Gunn that this man is. Okay, you like James Gunn, but it's my opinion that James Gunn is someone who is supposed to be used as a conduit to eventually merge Marvel and DC for a Marvel and DC versus DC movie. I've talked about my theories on that several times. I still believe it's going to happen because he has a relationship now with both Marvel and DC. So Matt, just to clarify, because I know you're watching, just to clarify, okay, I'm not saying that James Gunn is a plant for Marvel in a negative way. When I say that he's a plant for Marvel, I'm saying he's a plant for Marvel because he's going to bridge the gap between Marvel and DC, having been a director working for both companies, who is going to eventually bring to fruition a Marvel versus DC movie, which is a movie, by the way, Matt Jarbo, that it's on record that James Gunn has pitched the idea of a Marvel versus DC movie to both Marvel and DC. You can literally find articles written about this. It is factual information. It's not something I made up. It's not something I pulled out of my butt. I just cultivated it into what my actual theories are. So I hope that puts to rest. Yes, absolutely.
Well, so like also too, I want to add to your theory. One of Mikey Sutton's scoops was that David Zaslav is going to flip Warner Brothers and possibly sell DC to Disney.
Yeah.
To go with your theory.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've been, like I said, I've been saying this now I've been saying the Marvel versus DC thing for a long time now. It's on record. You can go back and you can watch my videos. It's there. So when it happens, Matt Jarbo, I expect an apology. I expect you to do a video eating crow and apologizing to me for throwing out all kinds of these wild accusations about where my theories come from and comparing my theories to QAnon and everything else. Definitely what you need to do is you need to stop and look. I don't just pull things out of my butt, Matt Jarbo. I don't just sit there and say, oh, this is this and this fake numbers and fake news and all this other stuff. No, I base my theories on factual information. So when I do research and actually find articles linking James Gunn to both Marvel and DC and the possibility of a Marvel versus DC movie happening at some point in the future. That doesn't make me a crackpot or a weirdo. That just makes me somebody who has used deductive reasoning and has actually read the articles and has actually cultivated a theory based on some factual, and I will repeat, factual information that can be independently verified. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yep, and really kind of like with your kind of like with you talking about your theory here about like Marvel and DC, Marvel versus DC for a Marvel versus DC movie, which I personally, even if it does happen, I think it's gonna be awful, really, especially in terms of right now where everything stands with David Zaslav and everything. I think it would be an awful time to do a movie about that right now. Maybe wait a few years for it,
but it'll be a few years.
Not right now.
I think my estimate was it's going to be between 5 and 10, and now that I think about it, it'll be probably be closer to 10 years than 5, considering everything that's happened. But I think it is going to happen eventually.
Yeah, even if they streamline something like that, it's going to take a good 7 years to make that.
And really just continuing on with your theory talk, like even I had thought I was kind of like crazy with my theory. Like for those of you who have been following my YouTube channel for about 1 or 2 years now, I've been I really was theorizing hard on Zack doing the Final Crisis arc, and it first started off with the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing that was going on, which at the time I didn't know all of the information at the time, but then as more information came on with the backstage, with like Jim Lee talking about it, with the head CW person saying that it was all that the Flash movement was all Jim Lee's idea, and really just pretty much with all of this information of the backstage stuff about Zack talking about him utilizing the multiverse, Batman dying. It was like pretty much being confirmed throughout the years that Zack was going to do a Final Crisis arc in his Snyderverse, which then would make everyone happy. Like and really with that Final Crisis Turkey post, that really did 100% confirm it for me, because at the time I was like 90% sure that Zack was going for the Final Crisis story arc. But then when Zack posted that Thanksgiving post, I was like, okay, now it's 100% confirmed that Zack was going to do Final Crisis, which like I said, which would make everyone happy, like from Hamada fans. It wouldn't be canceled. The Hamadaverse wouldn't be canceled. It would just be merged with the Snyderverse, and the Snyder fans would get the Snyderverse. So really kind of like that, like with the whole theory talk, like once again, I initially thought that I was crazy about my theories, but my theory about the Final Crisis arc, but now that it's basically confirmed now, except for the word of mouth attack and other stuff, like really everyone can have a crazy theory and they can be right and they can be wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Exactly.
and and go ahead, Matt Dan.
Well, I mean, we all have, and that's the thing. Like, we all have our theories that may or may not be true. Like, I actually have a personal theory about Zack Snyder's recent post, the one that you have in the background with Joker. I mean, and it's kind of based on stuff that's been out there. Like, the Scooper small screen, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're friends of Mikey Sutton. In fact, one of them actually writes for Geekosity or is like an editor or something. If that James guy is in the comment, correct me. But anyways, there's a pitch they said that Zack Snyder and Jared Leto had a pitch for a Joker project.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
have a theory, and because here's the thing with theories, it's just fun to speculate. I'm not, and again,
Yeah.
for naysayers,
Yeah.
for the move on crowd, I am not saying this is a confirmed fact. I am saying this is a possibility that, based on what I heard from Small Screen, that Zack Snyder and Jared Leto, like, this could be a hint that Zack Snyder might revive that project. Because I mean, I think he's even talked about wanting to like explore, the death of Robin and all that. So
oh yeah,
why is that not?
here's a key on that. Not to cut you off, but the death of Robin. I have to bring this up. There is an actual action figure that is coming out that is Jared Leto's Joker that looks similarly to that picture in the background, holding the crowbar in the air that he beats Robin to death with. How he beats Robin to death with the crowbar. There's an actual action figure that is coming out, and it literally depicts that. And I agree with you. I think your theory makes a lot of sense, and I believe that might be something that we will see in a future project that comes out. And Jesse Allen here makes a good point, and I wanted to read this because I think this is something everybody needs to hear. Zaslav coming in is just around the corner now. We will probably have to wait until that, unless current WB executives make one last power move to try to save their jobs by making a move on the Ayer cut. And here's the thing. I don't even think that if they release, if they by some miracle, and I don't think, and not nothing personal here, but I don't think we're going to get the Ayer cut until after the merger. I believe we're getting it, but just not before, because I don't think that the old regime can do anything at this point to save their jobs, and I think that they know that. I don't think they have. They don't have a prayer at this point.
Yeah, and really just to prove your point even more, like I think AT&T, I think David Zaslav actually learned from the release of the Snyder Cut, because I think because you got to remember AT&T told Toby Emmerich to call Zack so that they can release the Snyder Cut. So David Zaslav saw that and saw the Snyder Cut get released and sees how successful it is, and then he sees that Toby Emmerich's team and Toby Emmerich, Walter Amada, and Dan Sarnoff are going to follow up with the swing after the Snyder Cut. So even if they were to release the Ayer Cut as one last Hail Mary, I think David Zaslav would then ask, really, what are you going to do next? What's your next move? Because once again, like, you gotta think, if I'm David Zaslav, like I'm putting myself in David Zaslav's shoes. I see the Snyder Cut being very successful. Toby Emmerich saying that we're releasing it and stuff like that. But then I see not. But then I see, like, one day. Yeah, I think that article was like 1 or 2 days later after the Snyder Cut got released that they're not going to continue the Snyderverse. Like that to me is a red flag that we don't need you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Why
And
would
with
you
that, I
feel
want
like
I,
you're
I
consumed?
with just a moment on that note, Dan. I want to introduce Jesse Allen to the stream. What's up, Jesse?
Hi, thank you for reading my comment.
Oh man, anytime, man. You already know. You already know how I feel, man. Release the air cut. What's your thoughts on all of this, man? What do you think? What do you think in general of all of this stuff with the move on crowd and the people telling us to just forget about everything? The people that were a part of this and are now have now turned on us. What do you think of all that, Jesse?
If they tell you to forget about something or you sense it, it's probably just to bring your defenses down.
Yeah, yeah. It really is. It really is crazy because ultimately we've been doing the release the air cut hashtag now for how long? I mean, I
Five
feel
years
like at
now.
this point, I feel like at
5
this point,
years.
I feel
Half a
like at this
decade.
point, air is he's got to be super, super close to getting his movie. And like I said, I think it's going to happen after the merger. I don't think that the current regime is going to do anything to give us something special. I
Well,
think they're ready.
that's like it's like the same thing where they can't really make canon, super canon Marvel flicks because so many companies own the rights of the characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Zeno makes a good point here. He says Jarbo said that all the channels, including Sil, Max, Enosh, and Zod, were preaching false hope and profiting on it, slanderous. Yeah, yeah. It's so fun.
What
It's so
even is
funny,
that?
Zeno.
Like,
He's gonna say I'm profiting on it when in actuality my channel has been like monetized for less than a month and I haven't seen one nickel from anything that I've done on YouTube. So how am I profiting on anything?
and really, like, what even is that false hope? Like really,
False hope.
like really, I never really understood the term false hope either. Like, what is false hope? Like, hope is like something that you are
False hope.
like
If you
like
allow me, sir, false hope is like when like what you hope for and it doesn't come, it doesn't happen. It
but that's still hope because you're having hope on something still, so it's not really
well,
false hope.
hope is like you can't really like it's just it you just hope like if you're hoping to come back to life after death, uh, you're hoping you heard somewhere it's possible, and you can hope it'll happen. But false hope is like if if it was a straight up lie and you can't come back from the dead, and it's false hope because nobody really did it.
Then why don't you they then why don't they just call it lying then?
Because
Like
false
like
hope,
like like I said, I don't really get these different tendencies of stuff like
when it
false
comes to
hope.
entertainment,
Like
there's no false hope because it's just fantasy at the end of the day.
yeah.
Until it happens, we don't know one way or the other. And Zeno, thank you very much for pointing this out. I want to read this. I want everybody to understand this very clearly, so we all know what's going on. For a guy that claims that we're all profiting off of false hope, uh, someone super chatted Jarbo $20 asking which channels were to blame for Snyderverse toxicity. He basically blames everyone in this community. He said he won't be pulling punches anymore. He's an ass. Well, you know what?
Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to leave.
All right,
Um,
Jesse. Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for stopping
yeah,
by, man. I appreciate it.
I'm having a little bit of mental confusion. So like because I think what I said was so real that I don't even Like I just I can't do two things at once. I'm in the chat too, so bye.
All right, man. All right, later, Jesse. Take
I'm in
care,
the
bro.
chat. I'll definitely be in the chat.
All right, man.
All right, but yeah, really about that comment right there. Like, really, if Matt wants to talk, he can talk. But like to me, it's like he's talking to his own echo chamber, and the same thing kind of goes for same thing really goes for a lot of the big channels, I would say. Yeah, like really the big channels, like they're in their own bubble, really. But yeah, like if Matt does want to talk, then I'm open to talk with him.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
so like
Okay, and I gotta stop you guys here because we got a super chat here from Efren Guzman, speaking from not profiting, a $2 super chat. Zod, you are so insightful and informative. Thank you so much, Efren. And because you're so generous, I'm going to go ahead and play a little video for you here. I think you'll appreciate this. We've got. We've got to do. What should we do here? What do you think we should do? I'm gonna go ahead and oh boy, I'm trying to decide which direction I want to go for
we're
today.
talking about profiting, so maybe you should talk about a fitting video would be you getting exposed.
Yeah, let's go with the exposed video. Here we go.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen that bit of geniusness. Man, you got canceled so hard off of this, Zod.
I know. My God.
Oh God, I love this.
The piano music is priceless.
Good call, Bat Dan.
All right.
That's not profiting.
That was a good call, Bat Dan. I really, I was really trying to decide which one to do, because I figure if we get other super chats later on tonight, if we do, I would probably do the I'll probably do the exclusive the Batman clip. I don't know. There's but there's some other things. I got some other things here too if that happens. But
the controversial Batman clip. Oh
Batman
my God,
clip
yeah.
that cost me a subscriber on my last show, I remember. And Saggy Melons is here. She says, whatever it was, I did nothing. You did it. It wasn't you, Saggy. Okay, it wasn't you. You are awesome. It's not you. I'm not blaming you for anything. This is just no. It's all good. No. Saggy's cool in my book. 100%.
I don't know. I think maybe we should take a look at her now, though. She jumped on that grenade awfully quick. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. Well, she's pretty cool. She actually, it was so funny because I had Saggy on late night Q&A, and Saggy came on, and it was so much fun because we had people that were jumping on, that were in the chat, talking all kinds of mess about Saggy. And as soon as we were able to, basically clear it up and say, well, you really didn't. Did you watch my stream? You're saying that Saggy is this. Did you watch the last stream that I had before this one? Because Saggy came on and we talked about everything. So, just again to clarify, no, Saggy didn't do anything. Saggy's cool. She says, I blame Zeno for all the toxicity in the community.
Maybe you need to bring Jarbo on your show. Maybe that will clear everything up.
You know what? I don't really think that that's necessary because here's the thing. Jarbo seems to enjoy the whole social media thing. He likes to argue with people on Twitter. He likes to argue and then go on his $3 theater YouTube channel and talk crap to appease the people that support him, because he has a lot of people that support him that are not fans of the Snyderverse and want to crap all over the Snyderverse. So I think part of it is that, Matt is kind of walking a bit of a tightrope. He wants to appease the people on the one side that he knows don't support the Snyderverse, because those people are, are his supporters. They subscribe to him. They give him super chats. They come on his live streams. So he has a vested interest in playing both sides. But at the same time, if you look at him on social media, he's kind of taken a side. He's totally embraced the hatred towards Restore the Snyderverse. And I'll never understand that, because ultimately the man was a part of the Release the Snyder Cut movement. So it makes no sense at all. And he even replied to me today that he wants to see Restore the Snyderverse happen, and he doesn't mind it if he's wrong. So right there, he admits that the majority of what he's doing is technically just trolling. Because if you really don't support something, you're not going to come out and say, well, I hope I'm wrong and I actually do want it to happen. Well, if you want it to happen, why are you campaigning against it? It's like, it reminds me of Dave the Film Junkie. Every time Zack Snyder would post a black and white photo from Zack Snyder's Justice League back in the day, he would post a black and white photo from his cut of the film, and Dave the Film Junkie would say, well, he'd make a video and he'd be like, well, the reason Zack Snyder does black and white photos is because he has to hide the fact that the visual effects aren't done and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to the movie. So, it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You're like actively doing something to try to basically rain on the parade of the people who have hope. Because my biggest problem with him was always, you're using the fact that the visual effects for the movie aren't done to try and make it seem like it's going to stop the movie from being released.
Hasn't Snyder always admitted that, though? Like, that was never a secret. Snyder never said that, no, the effects aren't done. No, he's always said the effects weren't done. That was never a secret, so I don't know why that really counts as evidence.
Yeah,
right. Snyder himself said that, but Snyder debunked the Film Junkie, because Snyder said himself that he doesn't understand why that's a big deal. When he posted the canisters of the movie, when he posted the canisters, he proved that the cut was done, the cut was ready, whatever. And he even said he doesn't understand why it's such a big deal to people what the state of the visual effects are. He said that on Vero.
Right. And really, like, that's the thing. Like, I think that I think I can speak for everyone where I say that we didn't care what the visual effects were. We didn't care about the visual effects state. We just cared about seeing what he had. That's about it. Like, that's initially what we thought. Like, we were just getting Zack Snyder's movie as is. But then we got the full on thing. And that's the thing too. Zack did state that it's about 95% done. All that needs to be done is the VFX. So, and we were still saying we want to see it. Like, we just want to see it.
We definitely want to see it. And John Paul, I saw you in the back. I was going to bring you on after people got done speaking so I could introduce you. So if you do want to come on, John Paul, you're more than welcome. I don't know what was going on. Apparently, that Jesse Allen, who was on the stream, was not really Jesse. Apparently, that was a fake. That was a fake Jesse. I don't know what's going on, but okay. I apologize to the real Jesse Allen if that Jesse Allen who came on here was a fake. I apologize. And we've got a super chat here, a $4.99 super chat from my main man, El Divino Vega. What's up, Vega? He says, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Salute to my brother Zod, Jeff, the Watchtower, Bat Dan, and the other guy with the cool avatar. That is Johnny Alpha, who is kind of chilling tonight. And you still with us, Johnny?
Yeah, just listening. I got no dog in this fight, so I just always enjoy just hearing what you guys talk about.
Oh, okay, man. And he says, and then to everyone in the chat, well, thank you very much, Vega, for your wonderful generosity by giving a $4.99 super chat. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and play a video for you. Let me see what I can find here in the video archive. Let's see what we got. We've got, oh boy, let's see. Trying to see what we got here. I don't see I unfortunately do not see the exclusive Batman clip. I was going to play that, but I don't see it. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you some Georgina. We can deal with some sexy Georgina right now. Why not? Let's deal with Georgina and her effing problems, guys.
Georgina Revo, keep an eye out, I'm running the show, keeping these bad boys alive, don't you know? please. Fuck!
All right.
So
So,
fitting.
so thank you again, Vega, for the wonderful super chat. I hope everybody enjoyed Georgina Revel effing problems. I have to rep Georgina. She's a good friend of mine. I love being able to play her music videos on my channel without getting copyright strikes. So that's cool. What do we got here? So yeah. Okay, Saggy Melon says that Zeno is a double agent. I don't know. Zeno's cool. Zeno's cool people. I really like Zeno. Let's see. Koopy Malik says Syl is live right now. Talks about the current execs. Okay. And Saggy says, man, flip flops more than my flip flops. And Zeno says Saggy is a big liar face. Okay, so they're going back and forth. So we'll let them do their thing. Double MJ says even Jason Momoa put that interviewer in his place when he said he didn't think that Zack can finish the effects. That was a specific.
I remember that.
To me felt like a specific dig at Dave the Film Junkie and those guys that kept droning on about visual effects. That was the whole thing. I couldn't understand. I felt like that was. When Jason Momoa did that, I felt like that should have ended all the talk about visual effects. And then come to find out that the real reason why Zack was posting all black and white photos was because that was his preferred way to watch the movie. His preferred cut of the movie is the Justice is Gray edition. So all of the pictures were Justice is Gray photographs. I'll never understand why you would want to pour cold water on a movement that you allegedly support. And that was my problem. That's why I had a falling out with Dave the Film Junkie. That's why I have issues with Jarbo now. That's why I have issues with all these people, because if you support something and you genuinely want it to continue, why are you trying to crap on people's hope? Why are you going against the very thing that Zack Snyder himself is trying to do, which is trying to get people hyped up for the movie or the projects or whatever, trying to get people excited? And it doesn't really make any sense. If you support it, you want to see it succeed. So you want people to be hopeful. You want people to be happy. You want people to be looking forward to something. I'll just never understand all the negativity. It's ridiculous. And
I got an important quote about hope, actually, that's very useful for this discussion about hope. Remember, hope.
Okay.
It's like your car keys. Easy to lose, but if you dig around, it's usually close by.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Her voice is great. Rhea, definitely. I'll be playing more of her music. I have to rip a bunch more of her videos. I'll be playing more of her videos on for super chats for sure. She's fantastic. Koopy Malik says, "Wonder when will she come to your show again?" Gorgeous Georgina. Yeah, Georgina, we had her on not too long ago. We'll probably bring her back in the future. I don't know, Johnny. You had it fun the last time we had Georgina on, right?
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes we did, man.
Ever.
She's a fucking firecracker, man. She's so
fantastic. I honestly, like I said, I really, if I could bring her back more often, like that, I would. But there's always a big time difference because she's in the UK, so there's always a lot of things that have to be worked out to make it happen. But I can honestly say that, having her on is so much fun. She's definitely she definitely brings a lot to the table when you get her on a show. And Vegas says Georgina's got vocals, definitely. She's doing the remix. Yeah, I'm glad everybody liked her video. That's one of her best songs. So I tend to really like to play that one a lot because I feel like it's underrated, and more and more people should have access to her stuff. She's fantastic. AG says the rapper she's covering swears too much. Absolutely.
What shit, damn bitch, fuck.
Yeah, pretty much. And John Paul says, I'm loving this. And I'm glad you're here, John Paul. Thank you for being here in the chat.
Ray put out the remix video, the remix in the chat.
There you go. Yep, the remix video. Yeah, there's a remix. Yeah, that's cool. And maybe Georgina could make a Restore the Snyderverse song. She probably could. I could probably talk to her about it. She probably could. I don't know. She's very talented, and she definitely makes a lot of songs. Thank you, Rhea, for posting the remix. And Neo7 says, I love Georgina. Yeah, we all do. I definitely do. It's fantastic. And it kind of breaks things up just a little bit. In terms of all the crazy stuff that we're talking about here. But but I just want to see these people become a little bit more honest.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, for example, someone like, because even nowadays, Dave the Film Junkie is out there doing stuff where he's talking about, well, maybe they'll make a graphic novel, or they'll do an animated movie or whatever. And he's like, once again, trying to pour cold water on the whole movement again. Like, dude, Zach is doing the exact same thing he was doing back when you were telling us that because of the visual effects, we weren't going to get the movie. The same stuff that you're doing the same thing all over again now, saying, well, maybe we can do a graphic novel, or maybe they can do an animated movie or something. It's like, dude, no.
And that's the thing, really. Like, I don't think that these people think logically of things. Like, and I really hope Dave the Film Junkie and Matt Jarbo are watching this. Or actually, I do know Matt Jarbo is watching this, but because of his thing with you. But I do hope Dave the Film Junkie is watching this, because there are two questions I'm going to ask, and one of them is going to be an easy answer. One, what is Zack Snyder's job? He's a filmmaker. Number two, how weird would it be to have Zack Snyder's Justice League sequel be a comic book? I think that would be really weird. Like, kind of like the inconsistency of it. Like, people are wondering, when is the next Zack Snyder's Justice League? Oh, you're gonna have it, but it's gonna be in the book.
Well,
you know how weird that is?
Address your point, Jeffrey. Comparing to Marvel. Remember when Spider-Man Far From Home came out, and there was this big cliffhanger, and Sony and Disney had their falling out. Think of how many people were complaining about wanting a resolution to that cliffhanger. How do you think they would feel, going to Jeffrey's question, if Disney came out and said, okay, guys, guess what? We are going to do a sequel to Far From Home, but it's going to be in a graphic novel. Do you think people will be happy about that? Do you think the Marvel fans, the very same people, no, they wouldn't. And it's kind of like the point with Restore the Snyderverse. The main reason I just want to see a conclusion to Zack Snyder's story. I want to see the teaser with the Lex Luthor and Deathstroke teaser pay off with the Batfleck project. I want to see the completion of the Pentalogy. And I want to see the actual live action version that Ben Affleck was intending for his project, that Zack Snyder was intending for his project. This isn't something new for fandoms. Do you think fans have been happy if Avengers ended on that cliffhanger with Thanos? Like, no, they want to see a resolution to cliffhanger. This isn't the first time fans want to see a simple resolution to cliffhangers. And before people talk about like second conflicts, sorry, Jeffrey, I'll say one last thing, and then I'll be done for a little bit. Zack Snyder, in theory, really only has one more production he needs to do because, like Infinity War and Endgame, he can film the last two parts of his pentalogy back to back, one last time for the actors that are, let's be honest, are very loyal to Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder is the reason that like Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa have careers, so they would definitely come back for him. So yeah, it's not that hard to believe. And I've even said
Yep.
that look, if we just got the haircut, the Batfleck project, and Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3, the completion to the main story, I'll be happy. But would
Yep.
still love more. Anyway,
And
Jeffrey?
that's really the thing, and that's really the thing too. Like, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like he, like, it really just think about like seeing, really just like this whole situation about a book. It just doesn't make any sense, and really like going into the Avengers thing, it just doesn't make like it, like if they, like if you imagine like there's only been one, like I think all DC fans, whether you're Snyder fans or not, would love to see Darkseid direct shop on the big screen. When you got a taste of that in Zack Snyder's Justice League, you could get the full picture in Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. So like, and it really just, this is just something really funny I find about the fourth world with Jack Kirby and Zack Snyder, and really just the fourth world in general. DC, if you like, if you actually do your research, DC didn't want Jack Kirby to do his fourth world project. Like he didn't, like they didn't want Darkseid. They didn't want the fourth world at all with New Genesis and stuff like that, because they thought it was too big and too mythical and stuff like that. But then, as you can see now, the Darkseid, the fourth world, Jack Kirby's full fourth world is one of the most popular things in comics. And now it's kind of like the same thing with Zack, where people are saying, "Oh, we don't want this Snyderverse and stuff like that, and move on, yada yada yada." And now you have people saying, "No, we want the Zack's interpretation of the fourth world. We want to see we want to see Zack's version of Darkseid and the fourth world." And that's just really something I really like and really find funny, that Jack Kirby and Jack Kirby and Zack are pretty similar in a lot of ways, career wise.
Yeah, they are. And, Jack Kirby has praised Zack Snyder's Darkseid. Or no, not Jack Kirby. I'm sorry. It was his grandson, I think.
His grandson. I think it was his
Yep,
grandson or
the
great grandson,
grandson.
one of them. And they, and again, it's a testament to Zack himself for what he was able to do, and the brilliant casting of Ray Porter for Darkseid. I mean, my God. I mean, we can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't have been more. I mean, it couldn't have been more of the embodiment of what every one of us as a true DC fan would have imagined for Darkseid. This is why, guys, why the Snyder Cut is held in such high regard, even amongst people who didn't like BVS or didn't care too much for Man of Steel, because number one, when you see Justice League and you actually watch and you see Darkseid and you come to the realization that yes, this is Darkseid right off the pages of DC Comics. This is how Darkseid has always been. You can't deny that. I mean, if you're a writer for DC, if you're somebody that's in the industry that's always loved these characters, that's made movies, it's like you're gonna love these characters if you love the Justice League, because this is how they're depicted in the comic books.
Yep, and
At
really,
least in the last decade or two, Justice League has been a hella dark comic. I don't know what people are thinking about. Like it
yeah,
really has been.
yeah, it really has. And really, like with the casting of Ray Porter as Darkseid, I heard a lot of people
What's up, Seaver Fett?
people at the time were saying that I remember when it was officially announced that Ray Porter was being Darkseid, like we knew prior to the announcement of Zack Snyder's Justice League coming out, but when it was officially came out that Ray Porter was going to be Darkseid, I remember Ray Porter actually saying that he got a lot of comments from people outside the movement saying, "Wait, why is it you?" and stuff like that. But then when they actually saw the movie and saw Ray Porter's performance, it was phenomenal. Like it really was phenomenal from really a not really well-known actor on the movie side of things, and that's really another thing that people like about Zach's movies. Like even like Zach's casting is usually outside the box. Like you wouldn't think for Jason Momoa to be Aquaman. You wouldn't think Gal Gadot to be Wonder Woman. You wouldn't think Ray Porter to be Darkseid. Like you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, he
Exactly.
gives
And
new actors a chance. He gives
exactly.
growing actors a chance.
Yep. And Integrity 101 here says Zack Snyder's
Oh.
Justice League 2 is inevitable.
What is up, buddy? I was wondering where
boy.
you were. I was getting a little worried. Hey, buddy.
I love seeing Integrity in the chat. I swear to God, it changes the whole aura of the show when Integrity comes in. I love it. Integrity says getting the Snyder cut was the hard part. The film's financial success, along with its positive reviews, make restoration as an easy decision for an incoming regime. I couldn't agree more. I think it's it's all academic now. I think the reality is that yes, we will get it. It's just a matter of time and a matter of the new regime taking hold. So thank you, Integrity, for that comment. I agree, bro. Wow.
Did you? So I just remembered something. Did you guys hear about? Did you guys hear about this article that came out today saying that after the Flash, that basically someone asked Ben Affleck about really why he isn't returning to Batman after the Flash, and he said that he thinks that being Batman with the current, basically he kind of said that he doesn't think being Batman and with Warner Brothers now is fun anymore, and that's why he isn't doing any more IP characters like Batman, because he just doesn't find it fun anymore. And really, like if you really think about it, it kind of does make sense, along with Joe Manganiello saying that he's kind of given up on being Deathstroke, because I think that both of them have agreed that it's not fun being these characters anymore when you can't be them the way that they are in the comics. So,
exactly. I agree. Yeah. I have to agree with them completely. I don't think that if you're not having fun, it's the principal reason why you should stop doing something. You should always get joy out of everything you do. You should be able to find some semblance of joy or reason for doing it that's positive. I don't mean that everything you do has to be great and wonderful, but you have to find some reason to justify doing it. Anything. And for making these movies, yeah, if it's not fun to play the character anymore, you absolutely have the reason to move on. And I've said the same thing. If it wasn't fun for me to do these live streams, I wouldn't do them anymore. If I took it so serious to that level, to where I'm angry at everybody, I'm angry all the time, I might as well just quit, because there's no purpose to continue. And the number one and most talked about movie on a detoxic platform, Twitter, even Killar had to point it out despite his fakeness. Iffy, I completely agree there. Killar just sold us. Killar sold us all out. He's like, whatever, I'm done with the Snyderverse. Killar, wow.
And the funny thing is, it's like, if you saw Sill's stream, Mikey's son said that basically that Walter Amada was mad that Jason Killar made that tweet. So basically, he basically said, "You know what? I'm going down anyways. I'm taking Walter with me."
Yeah. Walter's on his way out, just like Toby. They're all, I'm wondering, like, is Zaslav going to hold the door for all of them as they walk out the door? All of these people that have literally lost this company money that made this merger necessary in the first place. Get out.
Well,
that's what Snyder
goes for a minute. Just think about the day and date release for HBO Max. Like, ignoring all the Snyderverse stuff, that day and date release was a bomb for HBO Max or for Warner Media.
I can tell you right now that apparently, I actually looked it up. So apparently, the only reason why they were doing the day-to-day release was because of Dune. Apparently, Toby Emmerich didn't want. Apparently, there was like a deal with the director of Dune and Toby Emmerich that if Dune was successful on HBO Max, then it would get a sequel. So Dune is the only reason why the same day and date release was a thing. So basically, this whole day and date release thing was basically to make sure that Dune gets a sequel.
Okay, and with that, I would like to welcome a good friend of mine and somebody that you all probably know from the four nerds and for doing his own stuff whenever he can. The great Ryan Zieverfett. Welcome to the stream, brother.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I saw the link. I was like, oh crap, it's an open panel, so I thought I'd jump on. I see that in the background now. Where it says open panel. What's up, chat? What's up, everybody? Yeah, I had a stream today, actually. I haven't streamed in like a month on my own, so
I know you've been a busy man.
Yeah. I've been busy with some other stuff, behind the scenes and all that. So hopefully that pays off. So, but yo, I saw the toy in the background. Is that a toy or a sculpture? I don't know. The Jared Leto. Is it? I
don't know. That's what Zach posted on his Vero. So I don't.
Yeah, I figured it was like the darkseid big statue thing where he's sitting in his chair, or the Superman where the eyes light up. I figured it's probably on that sort of.
It looks really good.
It does. It looks very well crafted, and it looks like they used real hairs, probably like horse hairs. That's usually what they use for. Well, it could be synthetic. I don't know. We'll see. But it's pretty dope. I don't own any of those things because they're expensive.
Way too expensive.
Yeah. I like to admire. I'd like to admire.
As of right now, the only one that I have, actually, the only one that I have is the DC Multiverse Darkseid. figure that they put out, and now I got that one because I've got like a Superman and a Batman, and I wanted a Darkseid to go with it. But that's really the only one I have of the new line that they put out, because they're extremely expensive, especially the really great lifelike ones like that Jared Leto.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the way that toys are now versus back when I was young. I mean, when I was young, they didn't resemble. They were like, maybe colored the same. But the sculpt just didn't really capture the likeness of the actor or the character. It was just like, it's close enough. Kids can use their imagination, but now, kids really don't need to use their imagination. They, these things are so detailed that it's just like, oh yeah, that's not Superman. That's Henry Cavill's Superman action figure or whatever.
Right. Very, very detailed. Yeah. I had gotten, back when BVS came out, I'd gotten the Mezco Toys Henry Cavill Superman figure, and it's very, very lifelike and realistic, albeit a bit smaller than, say, like the Darkseid that came out later. But it really looks fantastic. And then I've got like a Michael Keaton Batman that
nice.
that was released. I can't remember when. It was it was another one from Mezco that was limited, but it's very, very detailed, and it looks very much like, Michael Keaton's Batman. So I remember as a kid, playing with, speaking of good enough, I remember playing with like Masters of the Universe action figures.
Yeah, I used to play with those, and there was that ooze, that ectoplasm.
And you could pull the heads off the bodies really, really easily.
Yeah.
The heads were just like these rubber tops, and you could just pull them off and like swap them on whatever character's body you wanted.
I never understood Faker, because he was blue, and I was like, that's not gonna fake anybody out. I was like, might as well just buy He-Man.
Yeah, I was always curious about Faker too. I never had Faker, but I had friends and cousins who did, and I always thought that was funny. My favorite figure though of all the Masters of the Universe ones that were released was the one where they literally made like a limited amount of them. It was it was called the Wonder Bread He-Man figure. And it was a He-Man with like brown hair, and he had a slightly different insignia on his chest. It was just a little bit different, but you could only get it if you sent away from it with Wonder Bread proofs of purchase if you bought Wonder Bread. But it was very limited, and once in a while it pops up on eBay for like around $3,000. But other than that,
I usually ate Sunbeam or Mrs. Baird's, so Wonder Bread wasn't on my radar.
Yeah, but that was an interesting figure. I mean, I think as a kid, like about what you were saying, it's like when you think about the articulation and the way that these figures have developed over time, it's amazing to me, because now you've literally got a replica of the actor who's currently playing the character. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's kind of cool.
It is cool though. But what was, since we got you here and we're on the subject of figures, Ryan, what was your favorite action figure growing up?
Man, growing up, I was super into like, okay, I had Star Wars figures, right?
Oh, I did too. Yeah.
And
Same here.
My favorites had to have been Transformers. Because you could do so much more with them. I remember I had friends that had GI Joes. That's fine. I didn't care. I had friends that had the mask, and I thought it's kind of closer to Transformers, but not quite. And don't even give me a GoBot. Those things are.
Oh, you know what? I had a couple of GoBots, but I also had Voltron, and it took me forever.
Voltron is dope.
It took me forever to get all of the Lions, because you had to because they were like die-cast metal, and they were heavy as hell, and they were not cheap by any means, and you had to. I remember I was hunting around. It was like I had to go like store to store for like a couple of years to finally be able to find like the Black Lion that I needed to make the full Voltron robot. So yeah, that was
Voltron was pretty dope.
that was entertaining.
I remember I had Voltron, and then I also had the characters, the figures, and they were pretty big. I was like, you can't put them inside the Voltron because the size is different. But it's like, why even collect the actual action figures? But like, I have fond memories of like collecting the Thundercats. Collecting the Ninja Turtles that came out at that time.
Those were cool.
I mean, that was all roughly around the same time. That's when like figures were fun to play with, and I wasn't collecting them to like put them on my shelf. I was collecting them to play with them. Just it didn't matter if they got scuffed, damaged, whatever. Because I mean, we actually we played with our toys.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we take them outside, and whenever it would rain, we'd have a miniature sort of, swamp or, whatever, your imagination was so much more relied on versus today. Yeah. Today, kids don't really need their imaginations as much to, create scenarios or whatever for their figures to go through, right? It's just
because I actually remember when I was little, I actually created the storyline with my DC characters, which had with my DC action figures and Transformers action figures with Superman and Batman taking on Optimus Prime and Megatron.
That's awesome. My favorite.
That was really fun.
I had a super. What was it? What was the? I'm trying to think what the label was called. I think it was
Superpowers.
Superpowers. Yeah, I had a Superman action figure from the Superpowers toy line as a kid, and I loved that figure. That figure was like my prized possession at the time. The only figure that I loved more than that Superman was the Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, because those Kenner figures at the time were the dope for real.
Oh yeah. I used to have them. Man, I remember my parents got me those. They got me the Batmobile. And they got me so many superpowers. I had asked for them, and then for whatever reason, one of my friends at my birthday party, was like, they had a $20 bill, and I was like, oh man, if I get that $20 bill, I can not only can I buy all the things that I want. I had no concept of money. I was like, so I traded the $20 for my toys, and my parents were so upset. They were just so pissed because I mean, hey, trade's done. They're not gonna, they're not gonna go back on it, right? So, needless to say, I was in some trouble.
Yeah, back in those days, though, action figures were fun. What about you, Bat-Dan? What kind of action figures did you used to play with?
I played with Star Wars action figures mostly as a kid. I remember, I think the biggest thing I did was, so I mostly played with Star Wars action figures before Episode 3 came out. So I would always kind of like create my own version of Episode 3, what's going to possibly happen with Episode 3. You're going to love how this one ended. And this was, when I was young, didn't have a great concept of who was a good character. So I pictured Episode 3 ending the same way. With the action figures, I would play with Episode 3 ending kind of a similar to Return of the Jedi, where Obi-Wan would get a visit on Tatooine from 3 Force Ghosts. And get ready for this. The Force Ghosts were not Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn, Mace Windu, and Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool that you bought into that theory. What about you, Johnny? What action figures did you play with as a kid?
Oh man, well I grew up at the same time as about you and Zebra, it sounds like. So I had like all the regulars, He-Mans and Star Warses, but my favorites were probably Thundercats. I liked that you had the little ring where you could put in their back, and their eyes would light up, and they all had the movable arms with the little switches on their backs, and I just had a ball with that. And like I probably Panthro was my favorite because he had the nunchucks and the nunchuck arms. Those were
Now, did you have the Sword of Omens?
What's up?
Did you have the Sword of Omens that you could play around with, and the the insignia in the center of the sword would light up? Did you have that?
Oh yeah, I had the sword, and I had some bracelets, but that's kind of it for that type of stuff.
Yeah, I had that too. I thought that was cool. Did you have that, Zever? Did you have the Sword of Omens that lit up?
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah, with the eye of Thundera.
Hell yeah! No, I loved Thundercats. I was like, I would watch that all the time. That was
it's still great. It's still great.
I mean, the animation was on. I mean, it was excellent. But yeah, no, I had, it was weird. I had like this Lion-O mask, and it was made out of plastic, and the like flimsy plastic, and it would just wrap around your head and kind of. It was weird. You would look like I don't know. It's probably online somewhere. You'd look like not like a cat. It was just weird. It was like orange, and they had like yellow around the eyes, and then it came with the claw that with the the lion claw.
Yeah, the lion.
And so I'd wear that, and I had the Sword of Omens, and I went to a little kids party in that, and that was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was
did you guys? So I guess really I guess since we really did what cartoons? Did you guys see the classic Ben 10 series at all?
No, that was way after my time.
Yeah,
way after my time. I was I was like 30 when that shit aired, man. Like
that was really around my time. Like I remember I was 4 when that first came out, man.
Yeah, no, my kids watched it. They liked it. They liked they even had like a movie and all that, and it was, I mean, they thought it was cool. But I was already brainwashing my kids. They were watching Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and all that. So
really,
see again, that's parenting done right. Get them into the stuff that you're into, so that you can have these conversations later as they become adults.
Yeah, you always have the conversations. You can always buy stuff vicariously through them.
That's definitely something I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna show them. Like I'm gonna show my kids Ben 10, the original Teen Titans show, and of course I'm gonna show them Zack Snyder's DC movies.
Oh yeah,
same here.
Absolutely.
When I have kids, they're watching everything. I don't care if they're too young for Zack Snyder's Justice League. They're watching every part of that movie, including Ray Fisher's. When Ray Fisher drops the F-bomb, same with Ben Affleck. When they both say "fuck," they are hearing the word "fuck" as like 5-year-olds. I don't care.
As toddlers. Well, it's fascinating to me because as you see that and you talk about the generational concept of like going from action figures to becoming fans, it really is something funny, because I don't know, for me growing up, it was all that stuff went hand in hand. You had cartoons, then you had action figures, you had all that stuff, and it all culminates in the fact that why we're all grown men and we're all able to still sit down and talk fondly about this stuff now, and why we love it so much nowadays, because it's like the people that were growing up with us then are the ones making the movies and doing all that stuff.
I love it
now.
even more now because I can actually afford most of it.
Right. What separates a man from a boy is the cost of his toys. That's basically what it is. You grow up and you grow up and there you are. Everything that you love now that you couldn't afford back then. It's...
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. That's why I say, I loved, sort of getting them involved in the things that I liked, so that, when I buy whatever it is, man, it's like, enjoy it, guys, because I know I will.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
enjoy
I
looking at
think
it because I'm playing with it. God damn it!
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause really, like to me, it's also kind of like going on with like, because to me, it's also kind of like not just going into it with your kids and stuff, but it's also kind of like YouTube reactors. Because I'll be honest, like right now, my hobby right now is watching new people who weren't fans of DC watch Snyderverse movies, from Man of Steel to Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's like, and it's really kind of like a kid seeing a kid kind of grow up while while this person is watching this movie.
And because this new Spider-Man movie is upon us, Marcus Cruz is asking Zod, what is your personal favorite Spider-Man adaptation of all time? Mine is Spider-Man for the PS4. If we're
The
t- if
Atari
we're
game.
if we're gonna talk video games, I would have to say for me it is Spider-Man and Venom's separation anxiety for the Super Nintendo. I
Nice
love
pick.
that game.
I
That
would
game,
say,
that game is a beat 'em up. It's an old Spider-Man game. You can emulate it and play it. Marcus Cruz, it is awesome. I don't know, like I know they've made so many Spider-Man games and stuff, but for me, that's to me
Maximum
that's the
Carnage
best
is
one.
good too. It's by the same people. They're pretty much play the same. It's just there's better characters in Separation Anxiety.
Separation anxiety, yes, yes.
for me, in terms of like video games, I would say that it's a tie between Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions and I forgot what that. Oh yeah, Spider-Man Shattered in Time.
Is
Okay.
Shattered Dimensions the one where you get to play as 2099 and Ultimate and Noir?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that game was sick. I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. And so Johnny, what's yours?
Oh, dude, I'm a stickler, but I still love that first one for the PlayStation. Like that was just so groundbreaking at the time. Nothing played like it. It was just so great for the time. I mean, sure, it's been outdone. Also, the first movie game for the Tugboat movies, like that game is
Oh
so
yeah,
sick for the
the
PlayStation.
PS2 one. The PS2 one?
Well, yeah,
I
PS2, exactly. Yeah, my bad.
I didn't play those games
Those
Oh,
because
are
check
cool.
them
Those
out, dude. They still
those
hold
even have
up.
Bruce Campbell was in one of them. Was he was like the narrator of
All
one of them,
three.
wasn't he?
All
Oh,
three of
God.
them.
Oh, they're great. They're great. What about you, Bat Dan?
Well, I'm going to answer my favorite Spider-Man period of all time and my favorite video games of all time in one answer. It's the same as Marcus Cruz. The PS4 Spider-Man. I just think it does the best job exploring Spider-Man. You really get to see him in depth. And this is one thing that's kind of bothered me about the movies. He actually looks like the age he's supposed to be. He's a 24-year-old who looks like a 24-year-old for one.
Looks like Andrew
So,
Caselli.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah, I know Andrew Caselli. Like, well, one thing I know this is kind of a hot take, but in terms of like live action, in terms of like actors, not necessarily the way they're written, but the way kind of the actors do them, I say Tom Holland is the best because he looks like the age that he's supposed to be. He's just written poorly. So
really,
but
for
video games,
me, in terms of live action, it's always going to be Andrew Garfield. Like, because to me, like I've always because not only is he like kind of like, to me he's written the best, but to me, just with how aesthetically the Spider-Man what his Spider-Man goes through is just really something to me that really does makes sense in the way that Spider-Man is, because to me, like you could say, because to me, like Tobey Maguire, he was kind of like the Christopher Reeve era. If I'm being honest, he's like the Christopher Reeve era where it is very campy and stuff like that. And for the Tom Holland thing, it's like really going in there. It is going to that Tobey Maguire era. But to me, I would say because I'm a sucker for realism, just so you know, I would always say Andrew Garfield.
Japanese Spider-Man. Every time. Zod agrees with me.
I agree
Japanese
with you there
Spider-Man.
100%. Japanese
Best live
Spider-Man.
action.
Zeverfret, what about you, man? Your favorite Spider-Man video game?
It was. I think it was. I don't know if it was Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 3 or 2.
Oh, okay.
It was the first one. Okay, it was right after the Hulk game. Sort of, gave you that open world where you could like go off and do whatever the hell you wanted to do. Right? You didn't have to follow the story. And that's what I liked about the Spider-Man game. I can't remember which one it is.
It was part 2. Yeah, that was the last one I think I played. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean you could do whatever the hell you wanted to do almost within reason. And that's what I like about the new, the one that came out on PS4 and then again on PS5 is that, they were like that to me. They were like speaking directly to me. They were like, hey, we're making a game that you can go off and do whatever the hell you want to do. You can follow the story if you want, but you can have so much fun just running around and exploring or doing whatever. And that gets me kind of interested in the new Matrix game. Because that one looks like
that looks dope. That looks dope, but you gotta have PS5 for that, which I think is a mistake. What about all those PS4 owners?
Oh man, you gotta get with the times, bro.
You can make PS5, Sony. Get on it.
No, for that I do know, like, that's just the tech demo. Like I've actually played through the tech demo, and it really is amazing. And really, like I said, it's like a tech demo. It's not like an actual game. Like, you do get like a few minutes of gameplay and stuff, but it's not like an actual game yet. But all I can tell you right now is I think we're ready for a Path of Neo remake.
Oh, I love that game. Path of Neo was so much fun.
For real, with the Unreal Engine 5 that has recently come out, I think we're ready for a Path of Neo remake.
They might, what they might end up doing, which would be unfortunate. They might just end up remastering the old one, but I would not mind. I would actually like to see them do an actual remake like they did the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh yeah, yeah, that'd be great.
That would be dope because they did it because Path of Neo to me was really a fun game, but it was just one of those things that like it actually really did capture a lot of the feel of the Matrix. I mean, right down to every aspect of it. And for me, it's still a trip in that early first level when you're Neo running around the office building trying to hide from the Smith, and you gotta like huddle up against walls and stuff. I mean, that game is really, really authentic when it comes to Matrix.
But, yeah, it really is.
The Sickness says here, the Thundercats and the OG Turtles were dope. Those were the days. And Zeno is bringing up an old Star Wars toy that I remember. The Biker Scout was my all-time favorite Kenner
with the exploding
figure.
Bike, yeah.
Oh yeah, remember that? Oh my god, that was fun.
Exploding speeder, yeah, dude. Yeah. Like I lost all the parts.
yeah, that was cool. I think what'd you do? There was like a 2 buttons on the side of it. You
two buttons
together.
On the side. And
no, there was one on the top.
God, it was on the back, right behind the seat. It was right behind the seat.
Yeah, right behind the seat.
It was almost like an ejector, switch.
I mean, all I remember is coming home from watching that movie, and we all got on our bikes, and we'd ride around the neighborhood, pretending we were on speeder bikes. So, That's good times.
That was
So,
definitely awesome.
so are you guys looking forward to Matrix Resurrections?
No.
And I'm looking more forward to that than I am Spider-Man.
That's a
Okay, I
Yeah,
good
agree with
topic.
Zeverfed,
That's
but
a
like
good
that's a low
topic. I
bar.
agree. Great take, Ryan. There, I agree. I
yeah,
agree.
me
It's
too.
a it's a low
That
bar, but I agree with what he said. So yeah.
I mean, I mean, the last trailer is just like I love not knowing what the hell is
Yeah,
going
like we
on.
don't know what's
Thanks,
gonna
Koopy.
happen.
Thanks for
See you,
being here,
Koopy.
Koopy.
We love you, brother.
All right,
Koopy's
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
And apparently, this is the longest Matrix movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it's not going to be like just barely over an hour like Revolutions was. That's too bad. Oh, not Revolutions. What was the second one? Reloaded. That was the one that was
Reloaded,
going
Yeah,
to be like an hour
Reloaded.
long. Yeah.
Reloaded was just a tech demo.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't that
This is
good.
the
It wasn't
basic.
that good of a movie.
If you really think about it, that was like kind of like the blueprint for Avengers Endgame, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Like if this one is good, that's cool, but it blows the whole thing out because, like, in my opinion, there's only one Matrix movie. I never cared for the sequels, but I love the first one.
Well, the first
And
one's
Everyone
self-contained.
loves the first one.
You know,
Everyone
the
loves
first one, the
first
first one is the best Inception, the best story. You know, it doesn't need sequels. You know, it resolves itself at the end of the film. You know, it gives you that one, you know, shot of Neo flying up out, you know, like, oh wow, the imagination can take you anywhere almost, you know. But the sequels aren't required because it's a good movie, it's a good standalone movie on its own.
For real. Yes.
Yeah.
so,
I
mean,
think
like,
that's
if
probably why. That's
this
probably
new
why they
one
didn't do
is
as well.
good, I hope that it is, maybe, but I don't really have any
I did
expectations for it.
hear
You know what I mean?
I
To really blow my mind because
I
after
did
seeing the last two.
hear. I don't know if you guys watched the backstage vignette of the Matrix Resurrections, but apparently, but I'm not gonna tell you what basically went down, but I'm just gonna say from what they're saying, if you liked the Final Fantasy VII remake, I think we're going to like Matrix Resurrections because they said that it's not remaking they're not remaking the Matrix franchise. It's like a continuation, but kind of like resurrected sort of thing. So
I
from
think what
what
they're
I
doing is they're
can,
going back into the kind of like Back to the Future. They're going back into the first film. You
yeah,
know, they're revisiting. You know, because you see the old film, you know, in the movie, and I
yeah,
think you know they're trying to they'll try to sell that to the users or people who are plugged in as, oh, that was a movie that wasn't real. You know,
yeah,
we're
Yeah,
and
the
and
theory is either that the old movies are considered movies in the new film, or they're considered video games in the new film. One of the
And
two.
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
and another thing is that is interesting about this is that apparently this is going to be very meta, and someone actually told me he didn't go into specifics, but he said that but this guy on Twitter said that basically the villain of the Matrix is Toby Emmerich. If he were to name drop someone, that it would actually be Toby Emmerich, and he's like a scooper, as you were to say. So I'm actually pretty interested in really how this movie does.
Is he a Snyder fan? The director, the director of this movie,
Um,
is he a Snyder fan then?
Lana Wachowski, probably. I wouldn't be
I
surprised if they're
mean,
friends. Zack Snyder seems to be friends with everybody. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
Except the
yeah,
heads of
he
WB,
does.
anyways.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I don't know. I see him around Hollywood. He's always palling up and at people's premieres and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I
He's
mean,
not an
it's kind of
unpopular
like a
guy.
fraternity, right? I mean, they're
Yeah.
all sort of like, you know, it's a circle jerk behind the scenes. You know, it's out front, you know, it's oh, Disney versus Warner Brothers, but behind the scenes, it's all like, hey, you want to, they're right across the street from each other, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
they
like,
are.
hey, let's go to the deli, let's grab something. And after that, we'll do something, nefarious.
Well, I'll be honest. I actually fell for that photo of Zack Snyder at the premiere. I mean, I didn't think it meant that he was going to be in do Marvel. I just thought, oh, Zack's the guy with access. They invited him to the premiere. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
I just,
Why wouldn't he be there?
He's friends with Feige. He's friends with Sebastian
Yeah.
Stan. A lot of the
He
people that
said
are
that
involved with those
Spider-Man-
films, he's good friends with them. So like,
yeah, and he
could've
also
gotten an
said
invite from any of them.
Right.
And Zach also said that Spider-Man is one of his favorite characters.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Doesn't surprise
But back
me,
to
though.
the Matrix, Zever said something that I'm really interested in, and like I would very much like to see a Tron Matrix crossover. I would like to
Oh,
see,
yeah, that
even
would-
if they
that'd
have to
be
CGI him
that'd
in
be
there, like
epic.
Bruce Boxleitner and Neo just teaming up and like throwing frisbees at Smith. Yeah,
Well,
that's
you,
what I'm
you
talking
do
about.
know that like the writer of the Matrix she's also the writer of Terminator, and those before they
get those vibes.
they
I
were
did get
connected
those vibes.
worlds. So Neo is actually John Connor.
And he fights
So
for the
then he's the
user. That's
Terminator.
awesome.
Oh, what's that?
And
Then
he
who's
fights for
the-
the user.
Yeah.
That would make sense. That would make
Yeah.
sense. That's an
Well,
interesting
that'd be
thing.
another issue of DC versus Marvel, though. You'd have to get Disney and Warner Brothers to work together to create that project.
Yeah,
It's not beyond the realm of possibility though, as long as there's money to be made, you know.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit had Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny, so
So
I
there
mean,
you
back
go.
then they played nicer, especially with properties like that. I mean, nowadays it's like it's not uncommon. Could they make a Who Framed Roger Rabbit today? Sure, and I think they'd be fine with that. I mean, shit, they could have done the same thing in the new Space Jam. They had Bugs and all that shit, and they could have had Mickey in there as well. I
Well,
don't
Ready
think that
Player
they would-
One-
Matrix crossover. That'd be nice.
Ready Player One had Batman. I think it had Spider-Man. It had Spawn. It had Deadpool. It had all kinds.
It
of
had
people.
everyone. It
Yeah,
had
come on.
everyone. It had Jason Voorhees.
Yeah. So I mean,
Well-
that kind of stuff is not out of the realm of possibility.
And Integrity 101 wants to know, what did you guys hear about a Leto Joker film? Seems to me a low budget film like that with the backstory of Dick Grayson's death starring Affleck would be a perfect way to lead up to Justice League 2.
Jason Todd's death, right? I mean, I don't think.
No,
Dick
I
Grayson.
don't know why they would have.
No,
That would piss people off if he
Jackson-
killed Dick Grayson on film.
Well, that's the whole
Zach
thing.
did
That
say
he
it was- Zach did say that
Dick.
it was Dick Grayson that died.
Yeah. So that's
And-
that is the thing.
And from what I hear, it's like the initial pitch was like the death of Robin, but from the Joker's perspective.
Oh,
So
It should
that would
still
be
be
interesting.
Jason
I
Todd,
See,
no
that
matter
would be
whose
a good-
perspective it's
That'd
from.
be a good short little film.
Yeah.
To tell, And Integrity says Joker 2019 was $55 million budget. It's so simple. Zach does a few years with Netflix material while they make a Snyderverse spin-off film or two while also having a different universe with a solo Bats.
Been saying it for years, man. Exactly, Integrity.
Pow pow.
exactly. And John
So,
Carlos
what did you
kind of
guys
make a
think about the Joker 2019 movie? I personally didn't
was
think
good.
anything of it. I just thought it was okay.
it was an interesting take on the character.
Yeah,
That's
To
what
be
It felt to me like a character study on
Sure.
mental illness more than anything else. I didn't really look at it as the Joker in the way that we view the Joker, but at the same time, I thought it was interesting with what they decided to do with it. And it was definitely a good movie. It just was. It would have been like if Martin Scorsese decided to do a Joker movie.
more
Yeah.
than Brian De Palma, I'd say. It reminded
Yeah.
me. People say Scorsese, but like I'd say
Well-
Phillips was ripping off De Palma way harder.
I say Scorsese only because I compare it to that Robert De Niro movie, not Taxi Driver, but the
King
King of Comedy. If you watch King of Comedy, there's so much in that movie that it was literally lifted directly. Like so much of the joke of Joker was literally lifted directly from that
Well,
movie.
yeah,
I mean,
that's why De
shot for
Niro was
shot.
in the movie.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, right down to De Niro himself actually playing the host.
yeah.
The studio host at the time. So it really does, and it does have a lot of mixed, taxi driver kind of vibes too. But I could see where Johnny would get a few De Palma vibes too, because there was some Brian De Palma stuff in there as well. Yeah, it's Neo7 says that Joker 2019 was a Scorsese homage.
If I'm if I'm correct, did you guys hear that Todd Phillips was adamantly like he was very against having Bruce's parents die in the Joker film?
It was supposed to be Bruce Wayne himself who died. It was the directors, or not the directors, the studio was like, nope, you make it his parents like always. Not because he wanted Bruce Wayne himself to die instead, to kind of say, hey, this is an Elseworld story. This is not the traditional DC universe.
It's still fucked with people because they were all like, "Oh, hey, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is gonna connect to Pattinson's Batman." I'm like,
oh
dude,
yeah,
I'm sorry, but
that.
the Bruce Wayne that was in that movie was like what 6, 7 years old, 8 at the most.
Yeah,
and it took place
so
in the
that would mean
80s.
that the Joker in Joaquin Phoenix's timeline,
Joaquin is like 50 some odd years old, so he's gonna be
like
He's
like
in his 30s though.
What?
Yeah, the Joker if the Robert Pattinson and Joaquin Phoenix Joker theory were to happen, that would make the Joker 70-ish years old.
Right, and we've already got a 70-year-old Batman coming out, so I think we're good.
Unless in that, let's just pretend they were doing that merged universe. Unless in this version, what Joker falls into not only turns him into the Joker, but it also puts him in a state of suspended animation until Batman is of age.
So he's basically
he does a Walt Disney.
Yeah, he does a Walt Disney, and then Doc Brown comes out, and he's like, "Whoa, we gotta get this guy melted."
So he's basically going to the Lazarus Pit over and over again. Is what you're saying for 70 years.
The Lazarus Pit. Yeah, that would be a good movie to explore on its own. A movie called The Lazarus Pit.
Yeah.
Oh, but did you guys? Speaking of which, did you see? Do you remember? Did you see Zack's newest shirt? Like his newest Snyderverse related shirt?
No.
Oh, you don't remember? There was like a shirt with a grail on it, and it had Greek letters on it, and it actually translated from Greek to English Lazarus. So I think that Ra's al Ghul was going to be involved in the Snyderverse somehow, and I think he was probably going to be in the history lesson.
I could see that. Right. I could totally see that. I mean, he's old. He could have had him fight with the armies of men against Uxas.
Yep. And apparently according to Kevin Smith, like there was actual dialogue from the King of Men and all of the other characters from the history lesson. Like there was actual dialogue being thrown around with the old gods and the forces of men and the Atlanteans, and even the Green Lantern had some dialogue. So in the assembly cut, there is a lot more scenes and context going on in the history lesson also.
They need to put out that extended cut because that's my favorite part of the movie. So yeah, go ahead and make that longer.
We need the 5-hour assembly cut.
I'm not stopping until he's got 7.5, dude. I know he has enough to put it together. Zach, I want the 7.5 hour cut. Get it to me, man.
There you go. And we definitely got to get that Green Lantern scene, as some fan editors have put it together and made a version of that. That scene needs to see the light of day. So yeah,
Well, I just wonder how that scene
hours.
could see the light of day. Or sorry, just a quick thing. Like, I feel like it could see the light of day in a very creative way. What if Zack somehow edited that scene into Zack Snyder's Justice League 2?
Like
maybe.
a dream sequence?
Or a flashback.
Well, like, I don't know how they would do it, but like maybe like Zack just throws a quick line for Ben Affleck to say, "Oh, great, another one," or something like that.
Like
Like a nuisance.
Isn't
Another one. Jesus Christ. Another one.
But isn't that scene supposed to take place at night? Because
Exactly.
I remember seeing.
Doesn't have to be the same day. I mean, you're right. It's supposed to take place at night. So
Oh,
again,
yeah,
it could
that's
just be a week. That scene could take place a week after what we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League with Martian Manhunter. So
Yeah. Remember that line though. Integrity is right here, and Integrity says I could definitely see that. It could be an alternate timeline. Remember the line? How many timelines? Remember when the Joker says to Batman, "How many timelines?"
I wouldn't be surprised if the Joker knows more that he's letting on. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, in some crazy way, we have the Joker knowing about the multiverse more than anyone else besides the Flash.
Yeah, the Joker is like the safe cracker of the DCEU.
Yeah,
He's
and
working with Dieter.
he breaks the fourth wall too. He's like the only one who knows that we're in a fictional world.
And
Well, because
really,
actually,
like,
are gone.
but yeah, like, it really I really wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, like, it would be interesting to see another thing that actually he. But yeah, like, there's another cool scene that I wish was in the Snyder cut that we got, and that's Ezra Miller's Flash in college, actually exploring theories on how he can use the Speed Force to travel through the multiverse. Like, that's a scene that was actually filmed.
Well, maybe we could get a similar scene to that in the Flash movie. I know we all have mixed feelings about it, but here's what I like. But it seems like we could possibly get something like that in Andy's movie, maybe. But maybe. I know that's controversial for some people.
Yeah, well, it is kind of controversial, and since we're ending on the Flashpoint movie or Flushpoint or Trash Point or Flash, whatever you want to call it, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I appreciate everybody stopping by for this open panel. I plan to continue to do open panels all throughout next year, trying to do it every Tuesday. I want to thank everybody who came in for the chat. We had a really, really nice interaction today, full of people. Thank you, Zeverfet, for being here. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Batdan. Thank you, Johnny, as always. And see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Peace.
Good night. Did he end the show?
Oh wait!
I think you left. I think he hit exit